helping both sides go through a difficult transition. Mediumship at its best. Welcome to Mediumship Sparks, where we connect more deeply with spirit and source and follow the sparks of insight and inspiration that bring us greater awareness, healing, and just more flow into our lives. I'm Noelle Dean, intuitive medium, licensed therapist, and your host. A quick note before we begin: this podcast is for educational purposes only and provides general information. It is not medical or psychological advice and is not a substitute for care from a licensed health professional. I'm so grateful we get to step into this together. Let's dig in. Welcome to today's episode. It's not even 11 a.m. and it already feels like a long day. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. I have a friend from high school. Her name is Andrea. Andrea and I were very close for like sophomore, junior year of high school. I had just moved to a new neighborhood. She was walking around with another neighborhood young woman and stopped by the house that she saw a new family moved into, knocked on the door to see if anybody around her age lived there. And that was the beginning of our friendship. We were pretty inseparable for those couple of years. I may have spent more time at her house than I did at my own. I slept there, I ate dinner there, we hung out there, we might have played hooky from school and spent the day there. We did a lot of stuff. Andrea's parents, I'll just call them Mama B, their last name starts with a B, and I've recently come to call them this, mostly in my head, Mama B and Papa B. They were just very welcoming. I felt safe and comfortable being there in a way that was lacking for me in my own home. I was just part of a brand new blended family. There just wasn't a lot of connection in my family. This whole family, the B's, I'll just call them, were such a welcomed refuge. Even though the friendship ended and rebooted a little bit later, but was never quite the same, the impact that all of them had on my adolescent years was an indelible mark. When I have gone back to visit in New Jersey, where I grew up and where they all still live, I would stop by and see them. They still live in the same house. It feels like being back home in a way. Last November, Papa B, health had taken a real turn and he hadn't been doing well for weeks. And even though we all had hoped he would rally, he did end up transitioning. I'm grateful that I had a chance to say goodbye on a phone call. I didn't fly back. I was never really sure when to, and I ended up not doing it. I got a text from Andrea yesterday that her mom had a stroke and that she wasn't like qualified to have the surgery. I couldn't tell from the text how severe it was until she sent me a text this morning and said, please just send my mom good vibes because she's not doing well and I don't want her to suffer. That indicated a lot. So anyway, I'm out on my walk this morning and I start to send energy in her direction. And then I feel Papa B come in, which he's done a little bit. I get the message that she's ready to come home. I double checked. He didn't mean back to their house in New Jersey. He meant with him. And then I'm sure if you're picking up on messages for people, you have probably the dilemma that I have at times of how do I say but not say what might seem appropriate and not inappropriate to the person that I'm picking up something that seems important for. So what I have come to do, and if you have something better, please share, is I'll say, if I pick up on something, would you want me to share it? Not that I have or not that I am. And I say it that way because I don't want to create a pressure like, oh, I have a message. Do you want to hear it? Or no. I just think we want to be as like blank canvasy until we know as possible, because we don't need to sell anybody on ship or connection in the way that we experience it, because that's just not fair. And I'm not going to create anything like pressure. So anyway, she knows I pick up on things. She also has a sister-in-law who does too. And she picks up on quite a bit. She says that she does want any messages she already shared with me, what the sister-in-law picked up on was that the sister-in-law already saw Papa B and Mama B's two sisters that were nurses who passed years ago were like waiting for her. So I'm sure that was heartbreaking yet encouraging in some ways to know that she's being received, which is beautiful. It feels right to share this story because it's happening today. There's probably nothing that feels more important on my heart right now than talking about this. But also just sitting in, there's so many ways that mediumship can help us and the people around us that we care about, and people that are just looking for a medium to give them some kind of message, sense of peace, whatever it is. And I think broadening and expanding our definition of ways that mediumship can be effective is just so important. So what I was struck by this morning is that Mama B was either not in her body or on her way out of her body. It was easy at some point to start talking with her telepathically or psychically, however you want to say it. I wasn't really expecting that. We could talk to people's higher selves when they're fully conscious and healthy. But anyway, her communication came through in the same way that it felt like it came through with her husband. It was just so interesting talking to Mama B about her concerns about leaving. And she adopted her children with her husband many years ago. And she said, I hope I'm going to remember the 4 tenets that she really wanted to teach her kids. It was a sense of identity, security, belonging, and being loved. And it seemed clear the concerns that she had that kept her from feeling free to leave. One was that she wanted her daughter, Andrea, to feel a sense of security within herself, not attached to her parents being here. And she wasn't sure, or she was fearful that Andrea didn't have that. And it was so nice with Andrea's these concerns so that she could address them with her mom. Got a visual of Andrea whispering in her mom's ear, even though I think it was just the two of them in the room at that point. But that's the visual I got. So that's what I shared. I wanted to say that seemed important, but whatever we pick up on is important. That's why they're giving it to us. At some point, I'm having this conversation with Mama B about, and I'm not trying to talk her into, oh, Andrea will be fine. That's none of my business. That's for Andrea to communicate. But it was so nice to be able to receive the information about what she was concerned about and communicate that with Andrea. At some point, Mama B saying how she didn't know if she did enough yet. Did she do enough? Did she do enough for her children? And I could feel the right thing to say was, you've done enough. It was enough. You've done enough. Kind of over and over. And as I found myself talking to her, I could feel my energy shifting from like heavy and low, like in my probably abdominal area, to feeling a little bit lighter and brighter. As I noticed that shift in myself, my attention was drawn down to the sidewalk because I'm out walking. I'm going to show you the picture of it. I noticed 2 acorns-ish type thing and some long pod. Basically, looks like a big smile. As I'm communicating with Andrea, I tell her whatever I pick up on, and then I say, I know this might seem a bit, I don't know, corny or something, that I see this smile. I don't usually look for stuff like this, but I saw it. And when I sent that to her, she said, I love finding the happy things in odd things like the branch that looks like a smile. And I'm like, perfect. I'm texting her. It wouldn't have occurred to me to think of that. So obviously that message was for you. With all of this energy, at some point I just sit down and have a good cry. I get up and I continue walking. And I see a woman. I was struck by her t-shirt. It's a black background and it has the state of New Jersey in white. And then it says in pink and white, I may live in California, but I'll always be a Jersey girl. And I'm like, okay, thank you. That very much felt like that was for me. So I stopped for a moment and asked her if she's from New Jersey. We have a moment together and I asked her if I could take a picture of the t-shirt. This is a picture of the t-shirt. Sorry for the glare. I'm still hearing the song by Ozzy Osbourne, Mama, I'm Coming Home. Just yesterday, I was listening to a classic rock station and the DJ was talking about the last concert that Ozzy held and how he played this song and there wasn't a dry eye in the house because his health was really failing and they knew it would be his last concert. At some point, I started hearing that song as I was out on my walk and I've been hearing it on and off since. I have this sense of, I was tempted to say closure, But it's not closure. It's transition acknowledgement is the term that's coming to me. And as one of the most beautiful things about connecting with our intuition and using mediumship is that continued connection that we get to keep with people wherever in the universe they are. And as much as I'm sad for the family, Andrea and her whole family, and that I won't go back to New Jersey and get to be in that house and see these two loving human beings again in person, I'm so utterly grateful that I get to have even more access to them at this point, and that they'll have access to me, and that through me and through her sister-in-law, they can communicate with Andrea and the rest of the family and still be able to give messages of love and care and support. I'm also reminded that it's not our job to sell anybody on the magical wonder of mediumship. It's not like it's our little secret with ourselves, but sometimes it is. It can be really scary to people, as I'm sure, because I'm sure you're in the dilemma at times of, oh crap, I'm picking up on something. Do I share? Do I not share? What do I do with this information? And yeah, before we really connected with it and somebody would have given us a message from somebody beyond, and it would have possibly scared the bejesus out of us. Hopefully they didn't do that. Anyway, for all the mama bees and papa bees out there that are ready to transition, whose bodies need to retire, whatever we can do to support them while they're transitioning, after they transition, and their families during that process. How amazing and beautiful is that? Not to take away from natural grief, but it's just a whole other new chapter in their relationship and with our relationship with all of them. And I checked in before I started recording to see who wanted to join me for this episode, and what I saw was the usual suspects. And I got a visual of Grandma Elsie and my sister Lisa. And now I feel like they're wanting to share something. If I could get Ozzy's song low enough in my head to hear them or see the message. They're saying they are reminders of that to all of us, that you have a renewed sense of a relationship with somebody, especially once they shed some of their earthly concerns, egoic victories, and they're searching for, or I'm searching, I guess, for this Yiddish word, mishigas, which means like personal troubles. Yeah. They're saying that the connection will live on forever. Grandma Elsie, on behalf of a lot of people behind her, and she's saying we'd love more chances or opportunities to become more connected with our children and people we lived with and loved in our life all the time, even on an everyday basis. And she's showing somebody sitting with having their morning coffee. I'm seeing a woman who looks probably in her 70s. She feels like she's living alone, but I see her having this like morning ritual of having her coffee and then connecting with her loved one. That is such a beautiful idea. I'm seeing this small kitchen table, and it's like a 50s style table. I'm seeing like a green topping and then that metal curved side that those tables used to have from the 50s. And she feels very aware of whoever it is that she's having coffee with. And I don't think it's the same person each day. I get a sense there's a few people who rotate. She really takes advantage of the knowing that she has company every morning and that she's open to this. Like every breakfast guest is welcomed. She gets to have this one-on-one time. Grandma Elsie saying you can all have this all the time. Now she's talking about me. She's saying Noelle wastes time and experiences and opportunities sometimes, but she also grabs opportunities and has options and realizes it all the time too. Yeah, I would agree with that. She's saying if you're listening, you're a part of this club. Even if you still doubt or don't even know enough yet about the skills you have to be able to doubt what you get, you're in this club. And it's a club of knowledge and awareness, not a specialty club that's exclusive. It's an awareness issue, not a substance of soul or skill set issue. She's encouraging all of us. It looks like she's encouraging people on the other side to try to make their presence known a bit more. As if she has like a microphone and she's being a loudspeaker for this idea of, on both sides, people recognizing and remembering that those who are transitioned can make their presence known more often, and even using bigger signs, or I'm getting like trigger words to have somebody say to bring their presence forward for the person who's still here. And for the people here to project out into their mind. And she's giving me an example of saying, hey, Mama B, come have coffee now-ish or in the morning, inviting them. And then you're expecting them. This is me saying this, but I feel like she's also projecting this to me. You're going to feel like you're just sitting there by yourself. And maybe the part that you're afraid of being crazy is that you are afraid you're talking just to yourself, pretending that there's somebody there with you. But look, even as a professional who's been doing this work for quite a number of years, I think I feel a presence. I can question too. There are times when I think, oh crap, have I tipped over the edge? When the increasingly subtleness of mediumship is what you feel aware of, and it makes you question it maybe a little bit more. And I'm with you on this. That is a good time to turn around when you do a reading with somebody, or you share something that you picked up on for somebody else and they validate it, for you to be like, oh, okay, it's just getting more subtle. It's not that I'm making it up half the time. I hope that makes sense. Anybody want to share anything else? Papa is here saying that he loves that we're sharing these messages with you. Yeah. And I'm getting the words Mama agrees to. Anybody else? My sister's sharing something about watching a big picture unfold. Okay. And she's seeing how more and more people are looking for more integrated connection in their lives with their loved ones that are still on this side of the plane, and really from all realms. And she's grateful to have her messages be heard by you. And she's saying to me, but for you to hear, I love your messages of sharing about communication and connection not being lost, because it's too tragic to think about it that way. And it's simply untrue too. Yeah. Look, the whole family today. That's beautiful. Grandma's showing what looks like an energetic cord that might be between people. And it's, oh gosh, it's reminding me, now I'm flashing to Back to the Future at the end, when there was a lightning storm and this cord of electricity got cut or broken, and they had to bring it back together to bring the car back to the past. She's showing this cord as if bringing it together. She's saying that's the goal and the aim, to not lose that connection. She's suggesting if you've tried in certain ways to feel a connection with your loved ones, and that hasn't really worked, there's probably 50 other ways you could try. That might be an exaggeration. Let's go with 15, but there are. And maybe ask, just in general, or to that person, how can I? What can I do? So as an example, what's coming to me is, if you've tried getting messages, but you just really can't pick up on anything yet, visually or auditorily, try automatic writing. You would just sit with a pen and a notebook or a pad or whatever, or you could do it with typing, but a lot of people prefer the writing part. Maybe you just start writing and you just see what comes through, and then whatever you feel guided, you go and see what comes out. Or you could sit with a friend who is open to doing this also and see if you can do that together. Sometimes two people doing mediumship together can make it even stronger. So that could be another way. There are also people, including myself, who offer like spiritual activation coaching, where if you're looking to, let's say, be more connected in general, or even more connected with somebody specifically, that you could meet with somebody who does mediumship, who can be that sort of go-between to help you get more connected in that way. If you're meeting with a medium here and there to connect with a particular loved one, you can ask your loved one to have that information come through the medium. Like, what can I do to feel more connected or to know that you're there? Whatever feels right to you in your heart, whatever level you want to get to with the communication, you might be very satisfied with just the feeling or the knowing that they're there and not necessarily looking for messages. Do what feels right for you. Yeah. Now they're saying we're satisfied. Okay. Am I feeling complete? I think I'm feeling complete. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for spending this time with me on Mediumship Sparks. If this episode resonated with you, please like it, subscribe, rate, and certainly share it with somebody else who could benefit. If you're interested in any support I might be able to provide as you navigate your spiritual path, please feel free to check out my offerings at connectingwithnoelle.com and reach out at mediumshipsparkspodcast@gmail.com. Take good care of yourself, and I'll look forward to being with you again soon.